Don't be so greedy, my husband snapped as he flipped through the stack of papers. Wait, you can't just read those without permission, I protested, my voice quivering. But my words meant nothing. Isn't it amazing? We'll never have to worry about money again, my mother-in-law exclaimed, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Bennett's grin stretched wide. Finally, I can quit my job. That old fool actually did us a favor. They were lost in their fantasies of wealth and luxury, completely oblivious to me standing there, stunned by this sudden turn of events. My mind raced to make sense of everything, but while they basked in their delusions, I was already forming a plan that would change everything. My name is Scarlett Jensen. I'm 38 years old, a housewife who also works alongside my husband. My parents, both doctors, ran a respected clinic in our hometown. As their only child, I was raised with love and care. After earning my degree in pharmacy, I secured a position at a leading pharmaceutical company. Though my parents had hoped I would follow in their footsteps and become a doctor, they respected my choice. 10 years ago, my mother passed away suddenly in an accident, leaving my father and me heartbroken. During those painful days, my boyfriend at the time, Bennett, stood by my side. We had met through mutual friends, and 2 years after my mother's passing, he proposed. Bennett was an average office worker in the food and beverage industry. Despite my significantly higher income, I believed love could overcome financial differences, and we could build a happy life together. My father was thrilled when I told him about our engagement. I've heard how Bennett has been there for you, Scarlett. Thank you for taking care of her, he said, directing his words to Bennett. Standing tall, Bennett assured him, I will make her happy. As I stood beside him, happiness surrounded me. A week later, we visited Bennett's family to announce our wedding. His mother, flashy, divorced, and outspoken, gave me a once-over and sneered. So, you're the one? Bit plain for my taste. And older too? Wouldn't a younger, prettier girl suit you better? Before I could react, Bennett interjected, Mom, you know pharmaceuticals, right? Scarlett works there. Her father's a doctor with his own practice. I had expected him to highlight my qualities as a person, but instead, he focused on my financial background. At this, his mother's demeanor shifted completely. Oh, Bennett, why didn't you say so earlier? That changes everything. Welcome to the family, Scarlett. Thank you, I replied, though a strange feeling lingered. Bennett was overjoyed to receive his mother's approval, but something about the exchange unsettled me. Still, we moved forward. When it was time to register our marriage, my father, a doctor and real estate investor, gifted me a luxurious apartment in New York City as a wedding present. Dad gave us this apartment, I told Bennett. It's our new home. Let's build a happy life together here. He smiled, pleased, and so our married life began. However, marriage quickly revealed unsettling truths. Bennett, having lived with his mother all his life, was clueless about household chores. He couldn't cook, had no idea how to use the washing machine, and left his messes everywhere, never bothering to clean up. At first, I took care of everything, brushing aside my frustration, but juggling work and all the housework eventually drained me. In our second year, I finally confronted Bennett about sharing responsibilities. His response was dismissive. I work too. You're just better at these things, so it makes sense for you to do them. With that, he barely lifted a finger around the house, leaving me to manage everything alone. And that wasn't the only issue. Bennett's mother had unusual expectations. For Mother's Day, I sent her a high-quality scarf and carnations, but instead of gratitude, she called unimpressed. What is this? It's not even a luxury brand. How could you send me something so cheap? I tried explaining its value, but she cut me off. I only accept gifts from well-known designer brands. Shocked, I told Bennett. Rather than defending me, he simply said, just give her what she wants. It's easier that way. From then on, we gave her cash as she demanded. By our 5th year of marriage, she started dropping by frequently, always finding an excuse to ask for money. Bennett never objected. He handed it over with a smile. Though I had a stable job, his salary was modest. Managing our household expenses became a struggle, and I had to dip into our savings, but because Bennett cherished his mother, I endured it. She's important to him, I reasoned, pushing my frustrations aside. 8 years into our marriage, I was still handling all the housework and giving his mother money regularly. Then, one day my father, whom I hadn't seen in a while, called me. When we met, his news shattered me. He had terminal cancer. Treatment was no longer an option. Tears streamed down my face as he gently stroked my hair, just like he did when I was little. "This is fate, Scarlett. Let's accept it quietly," he said. "Dad, why? How could this happen?" I whispered. From then on, my life became a whirlwind: work, housework, and caring for my father. I told Bennett about my father's condition, expecting support. Instead, his response was indifferent. "Well, that's tough. Do your best," he said, offering nothing more. He visited my father just once. Consumed by my father's illness, I barely had time to think about Bennett. My priorities had shifted. One day, as my father rested in his hospital bed, he suddenly asked, "Scarlett, how is your marriage with Bennett?" Caught off guard, I hesitated. My mind flashed to Bennett's neglect and his mother's greed. I couldn't find the words to answer. Seeing my silence, my father sighed knowingly. "Scarlett, you don't have to endure unhappiness. Think about your own future. You'll be fine even after I'm gone." Tears welled up in my eyes and he squeezed my hand firmly. 3 months later, he passed away peacefully. Crushed by grief, I threw myself into arranging his funeral. Bennett showed no interest, offering no help. But I had no time to dwell on his indifference. My father's funeral was attended by many who loved and respected him. Even Bennett and his mother made an appearance. The day after the funeral, I received a call from my father's lawyer. After taxes, my inheritance amounted to over $2 million. I moved forward with the legal process. Back at home, exhausted, I laid out the documents on my desk. I barely had time to process it all before sleep overtook me on the sofa. When I woke up, I heard Bennett and his mother's cheerful voices from across the room. "Huh, Bennett? Mom? When did you get here?" I asked, still groggy. Bennett walked over with a wide grin. "Scarlett, well done." "What? What are you talking about?" I asked, confused by his excitement. That's when I noticed the papers in his hand, my inheritance documents from the lawyer. "Wait, you can't just read those without asking," I said, my voice rising in shock and anger. But my mother-in-law ignored me, her face lighting up with delight. "Wow, $2 million in inheritance. That's incredible. We'll never have to worry about money again." I froze, struggling to understand why she was acting like this. Then Bennett turned to me with a serious expression. "By the way, about this money, I've decided to split it between me and Mom." It had barely been a moment since my father's funeral, and here was my husband, holding my inheritance papers, making decisions without me. "Scarlett, don't be greedy," he scoffed, then grinned. "Oh, finally I can quit my job. That old man actually did us a favor." My heart stopped. "Old man? You mean my father?" I blurted out, unable to contain my shock. But Bennett didn't even acknowledge my reaction. "Anyway, let's wrap up the inheritance paperwork and transfer the money into our joint account as soon as possible." As if I wasn't even there, Bennett and his mother carried on, excitedly discussing luxury purchases, new cars, designer shopping sprees. I felt my blood boil. I had tolerated years of housework, financial exploitation, and constant belittlement. But this? They had crossed the line. They insulted my father, the man who had given me everything. I took a deep breath, forcing a smile. "Sure," I said sweetly, "spend the money however you want." My mother-in-law clapped her hands in satisfaction. "That's the spirit, Scarlett. Just make sure you keep working hard. We don't want our savings running low." I nodded, pretending to listen. From that day on, Bennett and his mother lost all sense of control. Bennett quit his job immediately, and his mother practically moved in, turning our home into her personal hotel. Every morning they'd go out shopping and return loaded with designer bags. "The 3-star restaurant we went to today was disappointing," Bennett grumbled. "Yes, it wasn't up to our refined taste," his mother agreed. Meanwhile, they dumped all household chores on me, treating me like their maid. Bennett assumed my father's inheritance would arrive instantly, spending recklessly without a second thought. He withdrew from our joint account without hesitation, burning through my savings of $200,000 at an alarming rate. When I confronted him, he just laughed. "What's the problem? The $2 million is coming soon. A little spending won't hurt." I warned him, "I'll put a stop to this." but he brushed me off. Then, a month later, Bennett and his mother left for a luxurious trip to Hawaii without me. After watching them leave, I knew it was time to act. A week later, I was relaxing at home when a loud knock startled me. I checked the intercom monitor. Bennett and his mother stood at the door, wearing matching aloha shirts, looking confused. "What do you want?" I asked, my tone icy. Bennett banged on the door. "What are you talking about? Open up already." I smirked. "Oh right, I changed the locks." "What? Why? Let's talk this out," he shouted. I sighed. "Fine, meet me at the cafe down the street." After realizing they wouldn't get in, they stormed off to the cafe. Once I saw them leave, I made my way there. When I arrived, they were already seated, looking furious. Bennett slammed his fist on the table. "What the hell is this, Scarlett? Give us the new keys now." "There's no need," I said calmly. "You two won't be living there anymore." I slid a piece of paper across the table. Bennett picked it up, his face draining of color. "A divorce agreement?" His mother gasped. "Scarlett, why would you do this?" I leaned forward, my voice steady. "By the way, you've been spending like maniacs. Are you sure you have enough money left?" Bennett scoffed. "Of course we do. My father-in-law's inheritance is on the way, and there's still about $60,000 left in our joint account. I'll show you right now." He whipped out his phone, opened the banking app, and froze. "What?" His mother grabbed her phone, her face twisting in horror. "The money, it's gone." "What the hell?" Bennett shouted. I tilted my head, feigning innocence. "Oh, that. I transferred it to my personal account. You know, for the property division." "What? That's not fair." Bennett's face twisted with rage. Then, as if remembering something, he smirked. "Fine. Let's divorce. But you'll have to transfer your inheritance to me. We were married, so I get half of it, right?" I let out a soft chuckle. "Oh, Bennett, you poor thing. Ha, didn't you know? Inheritance from a parent is considered separate property. It's not subject to division in a divorce." Silence. Bennett's and his mother's faces twisted in disbelief. "No. That can't be true," she shrieked. "Go ahead and check," I said, crossing my arms. Bennett frantically searched on his phone, his lips moving as he read aloud. "Inheritance from a parent is classified as separate property and cannot be divided in a divorce." His hands trembled. "No, this isn't happening." His mother's face burned red with rage. Then Bennett suddenly turned desperate, reaching for my hand. "Scarlett, please don't divorce me. I have no job, no savings. How am I supposed to survive?" I pulled my hand away. "You brought this on yourself," I said coldly. "I'll never forget how you both treated me. If you refuse to sign, I'll take this to court." Bennett and his mother shrank back, overwhelmed by a sight of me they had never seen before. I stood up, my heart lighter than it had been in years. "Goodbye," I said, walking out of the cafe without looking back. Not long after, our divorce was finalized and I removed Bennett and his mother from my home for good. Now I live peacefully, cherishing the future my father always wanted for me. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.